Hello, everyone. Good day to you. I don't know if I should smile based on what's going on, but I'm not surprised. And I want to ask, who cares? Who really cares what's going on now when people are being displaced from their jobs? When all people went to do was to work to get an honest day's work, day's pay, they're being disadvantaged. And if you care, what are you going to do? How do you show you care? I would like to say that as a Christian, we expect such, yet we still try to work against it. We don't accept it and shouldn't accept it. Yet we know that we are here for a time, but I want to say that the purpose counts. And even though hardships come, we must not just roll over and play dead and act as if it doesn't bother us, or if it's not affecting us, that we shouldn't help others. So I want to give you a particular scenario where at one point of time I was in town and I went to buy something from an Indian store, and this lady was there, but I didn't open she was saying, I didn't open it, I didn't take it from here, why can't I have a refund? And the person at the cash register, Indian guy, he said, as long as you pay down for it, it's yours. You can't have back any money. You can have an exchange, but you can't have back any money. Now, prior to that, I would have had an experience with another Indian store where I bought a fan, and after 2 weeks, it stopped from working. And when I went back, the gentleman is saying, read the sign carefully. After 7 days, you cannot have an exchange. And I'm saying to him, sir, I'm just letting you know that I work with the Consumer Affairs and I know my rights. Are you going to deal with this matter, or should I refer it to the Consumer Affairs or the FTC? He said, well, you go ahead to those places. Well, I did. And he was told that he just can't say that I can't get back my money. He has to make an effort to repair it before he replaces my money if he doesn't want to refund me. Well, I took back the fan. He said he would prefer to repair it. I took back the fan. It worked for a little bit and then it stopped. And because Barbados is a place that you don't get any redress really, yes, the FTC did step in, but it takes too long. I just left it. But at this particular point now, when I'm in the store and I'm hearing this lady crying out saying, but I didn't take it from here, it was the wrong one, it's the wrong color, and I don't need it anymore because it doesn't go about with my color scheme at home. I heard and I said, ma'am, tell me what's happening. She said, I paid them on this, but the lady never opened it for me to see that they have gray in it, and I don't want the gray in it. And I'm telling them that I no longer want it, but he's saying I can't have back my refund. I said, ma'am, if you don't get back your refund, FTC works. It worked for me. You know? And he is saying, look, you can't get back, you're not giving a refund. I said, lady, you don't have to argue with him. If she hasn't opened it was a comforter, if she hasn't opened it yet, you have no right to keep her money. You have a right to give her back her money. And I said to her again, the FTC works. No, he was not going to give her any money. But by the time I done speak, he gave her back her money fast. And I said, I learned your lesson. Don't buy anything else from here. And I said to the others, this is what we experience in this country. Indians, as long as you give them money, they don't ever want to give you back any money. They will prefer you to take something else in exchange. And this is not right. It's not a part of our laws. And with that, I said, and I am not buying anything else from here either based on what you did to her. And I laughed. She was able to get back her money because I opened my mouth. Why do we act like if nothing offends or affects us when it is not us directly? I want us to think about that. Now, I said to you that I believe in Jesus. And I would really like all of us to know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. That's the only way we can make this place better. That's the only way we can make our eternity better. We all are just passing through. Remember, we came with no clothes, and the most we go out with is one suit of clothes, Sometimes no shoes. You can't see the shoes in a casket. Please, people. What are you leaving for the others? What can God say that He has not wasted time in giving you breath for? How are you helping humanity and your world? How are you making your world a better place? I want you to consider these things. Now, as we are talking, I want to speak on the culture of Barbados. Back on the culture, because this is the whole root of what is happening in this country, and this is why we can't get any progress. Because even with me speaking out on this medium, people have stopped from speaking to me, and it happened before as well, although I'm trying to help them. But based on what their management said to them, including the government, they keep far from me. They make it seem as if I have done something wrong, when all I'm trying to do is to get right and to get wrong corrected. Now, if God lays this on my heart, I have to pursue. I have to continue in doing what God calls me to do. Moses was called to tell Pharaoh, who raised him from a baby, "Let my people go." Moses did not forget his roots. Moses did what God called him to do. I can't forget God. And no matter where I go, no matter how high I climb or low I go, I am intending to do God's will because I want to see His face. And I encourage you to do the same. So those people who were told in the workplace, don't give me no work, hide files from me, I am trouble, so keep far from around me. They were meant to hurt me, right? And I told you that they played with my vehicle, they tried to frighten me off, and you would think that these people, the same government who's telling you about no bullying and the violence, that they would not be responsible for such that happened to me at work. Don't fool yourself. And it still continues. So I want to say that the people who distance themselves from me, remember, you have your children too. What you don't want for your children, if not for yourself, don't do to others. And I know that your salary is hinged to if you do it or not. Well, then walk away. That's my whole resolve, right? That if I don't like something for myself, I'm not doing it to anybody. Bible tells you, do unto others as you would like them do unto you. Right? And I kept saying to myself as I got my degrees and stuff like that, and the wickedness continue. Nicole, if you was to get a call to do wickedness to somebody, just to make sure your salary is paid when the month comes, to make sure you have your vehicle expenses and your mortgage paid, would you do it? My answer to that question was no. Jim Wan, if you go online, you can go up on Google his sayings and his motivational talks. He says, if your values are not instilled from management end, right, or within the organization you work with, you are not supposed to be within that organization, right? And to be honest with you, in government, it wasn't working for me because I can't find myself doing such wickedness where you can get a call to say disadvantage this person, do wickedness to this person, and you do it and I carry it out. Me that want to see God's face, that don't know how long I will be here on this earth for. God could call me home today. He could call me home tomorrow. And when I have said, Jesus, I accept you into my heart as Lord and Savior, it is not, oh, Father, forgive me for doing that. No. I am not going on forgiveness. I am not going to do wrong to ask for forgiveness when I know it was a blatant wrong. We are criticizing and abusing God's love when we do something like that. No, if I know better, I do better. To whom much is given, much is expected. You don't act as if you don't know and do. No, you'll be punished extra for that. So, the culture in this country is this. If you speak out, then you are ostracized. Just like what Trump is doing. I'm not surprised. Right? I'm not surprised. But the thing is this. I was ignored. Can we ignore all of these people that are going home, that have done nothing wrong but to work for their honestly for their dollar? But yet Trump is saying they should be fired as a result of doing their job? Yes, I am really glad about some things that Trump has done. But how do we help those people? Do we as other countries just look on with our eyes shut? If God has not called us home as yet and bring this world to an end, although it is coming to an end, although we are in the end days, I'm still saying that we still have a right to fight and to fight for others. And so I want us to stand up, speak out, help others. And if a job is not doing what you know is right, the Bible tells you, righteousness exalts and whole an entire nation. If it is not doing what is right in God's sight, move on. I took a little blow by moving on. Although as an appointed officer, when I went to NIS, after I've paid them for 29 years, they told me I can't have unemployment benefits because I'm an appointed officer. So therefore I had to either stay into the job, which was seriously negatively affecting my health based on the nastiness that was going on. And I would tell you, for instance, I was bleeding at work. They knew it was the building, and they made it feel as if it was my fault. When the results came back from the Barbados, from the Department of Labor to prove that the building was ill, nothing was done. My salary was reduced to 10 notches down. And furthermore, they would not appoint me. And yet, I had to be paying the doctors, and then they stopped my pay. Okay. From 2017, I've had lawyers trying to work on this. Tried to work on it. Lawyers said, no, I can't work on it. One lawyer was honest. He said, Nicole, I'm a Christian. I'm being honest. If I ever take up this job for you, I will not get any work from the government. Another one said the government will come and they will victimize me. You know, one lawyer, she took it. She said, yes, you have a case. You have 2 cases. I will work on it. But she was connected to the Chief Justice office. And then she came back and made me seem as if something was wrong with me. I would have told you before that another lawyer shouted at me, and by the next week she was a high court judge. These are wickedness that happen in this country, in Barbados. And if you want to shut a blind eye to what's happening in the U.S., I'm telling you that it's going to come back around. We need to stop it. We need to step up for others. We need to stand up, and speak up for others. Okay? Now, the last lawyer that told me off, she told me something is wrong with me. They actually wanted to make me seem mad for going after this case where I know I was right. Several lawyers made me think something was wrong with me. After I went and I was educated, I got educated. I got back certificates. And the same government that wanted me to use my qualifications for their business wanted me to ignore my rights. wanted me to not be qualified to know my rights. And this is something that is so hypocritical. That when you see people out there committing violence, I am not sure if we should be so alarmed. Because the thing is this, that if people in management positions are doing such wickedness, people outside know what's going on. They know full well that they will not get justice if they are not connected politically to others, if they don't have a lot of money. And I would want us to connect the dots where I would have said that as a child I was abused. All right, I kept that quiet. But don't tell me that after I've worked so hard over the years to do what was right, to make sure I pay my bills, to work hard in the government service, that I should be exploited and continue to be exploited, not only by the government service, but also by insurances, after I've paid my dues, after I've worked hard, made sure I paid my premiums, made sure I paid all that was needed. Listen, somebody got to stand up. We together have to stand together to help others, including for myself as well. I want to say that if we continue like this, I did not expect it to get better. Honestly, it can only get worse. For those who are shutting their eyes, who are out there obeying what the government tells them to do because they must ostracize me and make me seem as if something was wrong with me. Oh, and the lawyer that tells me that something wrong with me and that I am crazy and I am mad and that, I have it all in writing that I have reported her too. You know that when the lawyer wrote a letter to the government, within a very short space of time, the government deposited $11,000 to my account. I have that documentation and I can produce it for you. All of the lawyers that would not represent me, but after he represented me, he seemed to have gotten into trouble too, because the government can lash back at these lawyers. What fairness is happening in this country? Where is the fairness? And yet we are telling our children, don't be violent. Do what is right. When you do what is right, and right is not meted out to you, what happens then? How do you expect people to respond? The culture. Slavery is not finished. And slavery, people speaking out, did not stop at Sarah Angel or at Bussa or at Clement Payne. People are still speaking out. But when they speak out, they are victimized. Quite shortly after I sent up a video, 2 Fridays ago, I came around a corner and somebody had bright lights in my face to cause an accident. I don't know if it was a mistake, but to be honest with you, I don't think it was a mistake. Because when you speak out, things happen. And I'm going to give you a clear example. I had also ran to be an independent candidate to help guide this country and to help the country. And when I did so, my water bill, which should not be connected to politics, was increased significantly. Couple hundreds of dollars it came in for. I was speaking to another lady who ran as well the same year, and she said to me, Nicole, mine went up by thousands of dollars when I went to run as a politician, when I went to try to help this country. This country is not helped, is not only being lobbied or was not only stood up for by past people. There are people who are still trying to cause fairness and to get right done in this country. But we are being victimized, sometimes at some point in time being criminalized. How can a water company increase your bill when it has nothing to do with what we were doing, trying to help this country to be better? And I would have said, I don't know if I would have said it, but when I went to Canvas, All the people who I went to speak to help make a better nation, to say we have to get up and work to make a better country, you know what they said? How much money you giving us for our vote? People don't want to work. So therefore, when the government is out there borrowing money from the IMF and the Chinese and whoever is offering, I can't necessarily blame them. So I am saying that all of us have a part to play to make a better world. I am saying that we need to start from putting our hands to the politicians to get money for their vote, to vote for them. I am saying that the politicians have to stop their wickedness and try to make sure that only their people are in. I have been disadvantaged while working for the government. At my last office particularly, where a permanent secretary tried to oust me as much as she could. Then from there, the messenger, he was not delivering my mail. He was not delivering the mail when it was urgent to be sent out. And when you went to complain, they say, listen, he's family to this body. Politics. You can't get anything better. You can't get any better results because these people cannot be removed because of their political ties. And as a result, we can talk from now to whenever, unless people stop from being paying so much allegiance to politics, and this culture changes, we will always get what we are getting. And the funny thing is this: Trump is doing his openly, firing people openly, disadvantaging people openly. And I don't want to focus on Trump alone, because at the end of the day, as a Christian, we focus on where we have one gender when you are born, etc. Trump is helping in that. Not saying he's doing all bad. But we can't leave somebody to themselves to just do as they like. There have to be rules. And there's no country that has a law unto themselves. There has to be an organization, an international organization in place that will pull people together and make sure that they're doing what is right. There is no government that should be doing whatever they feel like doing and still getting away with it because they are the government. Now, if you doubt what I'm saying, there was an article in Sunday's paper which spoke of what I'm speaking of. Sunday Sun, February the 2nd. And I would send that with this video to show you that government workers are being exploited while the government is over the private sector to set them in place. Yet there's nothing in place to make sure that government workers, government employers are checked and make sure that they are doing what is right. Who is guarding the guard? I will put up that particular post because while the government tells the private sector, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, the government regulations that are in place, there are no checks and balances for that. And even if the regulations are stated, it's left up to people's own interpretation and their biases. And at the end of the day, however you interpret it, whoever is reading and whoever is in charge, the permanent secretary, etc., they go based on what they want. And they can manipulate the regulation to say whatever they want to say and to do whatever they want to do. And this is not good enough. We need a guard to guard the guards. Right now in the USA, people are being really, really disadvantaged. People who have worked in the FBI being fired because they worked on Trump's cases. And then we talk about apolitical. And I learned recently that apolitical isn't really apolitical, that it doesn't work. Even in Barbados. You can't be apolitical. Because if you go into the thing and a particular party comes in and you don't do as they say, you can get fired. You can get ostracized, if not fired. You can get disadvantaged tremendously and victimized. That at the end of the day, you go nowhere. Let me say this to you. I work in the government had on nice clothes, worked really, really hard, and then at times we're not paid. Sometimes 1 and 2 months, and my bills still have to be paid. There are many out there that has that situation going on, and still yet nothing can be done, and nothing is done because the government is the leader and is the ruler. Don't get caught up, because at the end of the day, we still have a type of Trump leadership in this country, and it needs to stop. And if you say openly that Trump is wrong, we need to call wrong in Barbados. We need to. Doing business in Barbados is something else. Can't call offices before a certain time. You won't get an answer. And if you ever try calling after 12:1 or so, you don't really get an answer. I'm not the only person. And the Spirit asked me, so if you can get the system to work while you were in it, you're going to get it work when you're out now? Either we are going to try to make the world a better place, or we're going to try to make eternity a better place. And I say let's do both. We have to leave sometime. Let's try our best to accept Jesus Christ in our hearts, Lord and Savior, and live right. And we are called to do right, occupy until He comes. I'm saying to you, let us do so. If you are at work and people are doing what they feel like doing, we work as unto God, not as unto man. Do what you're supposed to do. I encourage you to do so. Now, as I said about NIS payments, I had to choose on if I was remain in workplace and continue to be victimized, continue to be where files were hidden from me, and I had timelines to produce them, where my senior, who had to do performance appraisals for me, was doing a lot of wickedness, trying to embarrass me in front of people when I did the work. It was so horrible. And then, although I had an HR officer, she remained silent. She didn't stand up. She didn't look. There's so much wickedness and corruption that happens that I am not sure how far Barbados will come. And if they think that these children who are wiser than we are, who will not stand for so much nonsense that we are standing for, will accept what is going on, they are wrong. Children will see what is going on, and they will not accept it. I'm saying to you that we need to help. Don't stay there. Don't say it's just Nicole that's going through it, and so we wouldn't help her. But look at how it would ricochet back to you and your family. If you know you don't want it for yourself, don't allow it for others. Just as I stood up for that lady in town and she got back her money, we need to stay up for each other. We need to band together. We need to say that these things are wrong. Right? The HR officer did that to me. She told lies on me. And then when I had the workers union working for me, Barbados Workers Union working for me, they were supposed to get back to me. Very, very important matter. I'm going through a lot of stress on what was going on. Nobody got back to me. They were supposed to send me a letter. Nothing. And this is where people can say that all of them are together, where they're all politically affiliated, and so they work with each other. And I am not going to hide my mouth anymore. I came out silently, but I was paying the Barbados Workers Union to stand up for my rights, to assist me. And I stayed home and I waited on them to send off the letter to work on my behalf, and they did nothing. And this is where people are saying that the unions are not working for them. And I have proven it. Now, people want to say that it's me, something is wrong with me. Let me tell you what is wrong with me. I am not going to see wickedness happening and sit and shut my mouth after I have accepted so much abuse over the years. It's time that I speak out now. It's time that it stops. Because keeping silent does not stop it. As I finish, I want you to connect the dots. I was abused as a child. Worked hard, decided I will do my best to get out of this abuse. But yet, when I get older, the abuse continues. Unfairness from the government where you least expect is happening. I told you I went to work without money to pay my bills and stuff like that. And I remember at one point in time asking a gentleman if he could lend me some money to help me pay my bills. And he said, okay. And then he made me look like if I was, what should I say? I felt very, very, very disappointed, insulted, because there I am working in a big job in government and still can't get paid. You gotta be begging for your payment. And this was not at the last workplace I worked, but it happened for a couple of years within the government. I worked in the government for 29 years. I'm telling you, other people are going through such, and they are speaking about it. Some people are not accepting it, and unless it comes out in the media, nothing is going to be done either. Right? You've heard about nurses working, not having even bus fare, not even having lunch, and having to wait for somebody there to eat their lunch. That was in the media, and nothing was done. What can be done when a government is in place and they are trying to make sure that the government doesn't look bad, and they try to hide it up when it's true. I know from my own experience. But yet we are in a very hypocritical country where you must look like if nothing affects you, where you must keep smiling. It needs to stop. It really needs to stop. So from unfairness as a youth, as a child, to unfairness in the workplace as an adult. And then when you come and you want to get out, and yes, it's saying no, you can't resign. It's not even get any unemployment benefits. I had to decide I have to go. So my small businesses will have to support me. It will have to. And by God's grace, it is God is helping me, and you out there are helping me by supporting me. But I wouldn't have a reason to tell lies, people. I've met so many people that tell me they're resigned. People keep complaining of what they're experiencing. Can you imagine? Can't wait to get a job, doing well, studying hard, paying a lot of money to get degrees and studying to go into a job to say, I can't wait to get out. You are missing a whole set of your life because of the discomfort that you experience, the victimization, the wickedness. And then when you go to some lawyers, not all, are making you seem as if it is you, and then they are saying no, they can't take your case and making something look like if it's wrong with you, when they know that they are politically affiliated, and if they do take the case, that they can be victimized as well. Why are we in this country speaking about freedom if this is what is happening in Barbados? Why, after paying for insurances to cover you, you can be left to die and not be compensated? You see, when violence happens, don't get vexed. Because people who worked hard and did what was right to be treated fairly, when then they are not treated fairly, will retaliate. This is my way of retaliating. I'm asking for help. Not only for me, but for others. And I'm saying, it's not only for Barbados. We need to unite as a people to help others. Right now, people of my color are being disadvantaged, being deported just because of their color, just because they worked honestly for their dollar in a system that expected them to work. They are being fired unfairly because a new president is in, and he doesn't want them to work because they worked on his case, because they were asked to work. Some organization has to step in. We as countries need to band together and say this is not good enough. USA is not a God unto themselves. Righteousness exalts a nation. We need to stand up for others. We need to say it cannot continue. And whether the USA has certain things, we need to be able, as a a country, as a world beyond USA to know how to survive. This is what I said years ago, especially during the pandemic. When COVID hit, how are we going to feed ourselves? We should have had such systems put together that we can be able to help ourselves and know when we need to stand up. We need to trust God as well. Accept Him in our hearts as Lord and Savior and stand up and call wrong, wrong. We can't turn a blind eye at all times to other people who need us. How are you going to show you care? How can you help? And most importantly, how will you help? We need your help in Barbados. And the USA need your help over there. Those who are being humiliated, dehumanized, losing their jobs. How can you tell somebody within a week's time that they are fired? How does that person be able to, how can they be able to cope with that? They still have their bills to pay. I had a bit of it as I worked in government. And as I told you, when I came off, yes, thank God I had my small businesses to help me. But it still was not as I would have wanted. It still is not. But I am giving God thanks because He continued to provide for me every time. And I want you to trust in Jesus. I want you to accept Jesus Christ in your heart as Lord and Savior and know that with Him, you can make it. I am promising you. I keep telling people when I go to the hospital, if I had $1 million and I can give it to you. That's my $1 million, Jesus. He can protect your health. He can provide for you. He can cover you. He can do so many different things. Keep you. Keep your mind. Keep your family. I am a living testimony of that. And then when we die on this earth, when we die and leave this earth, we have our assurance that we will be with Him. We all have to die. Don't get scared. But until we reach there, we are called to do our best to make this world a better place. And I encourage you to help me do it. Thank you for listening. But most importantly, I need you to act. Assist me, assist others, and let us assist others when we can to stand up for what is right. Righteousness exalteth a nation. You can't show a blind eye and act as if it doesn't affect you, because the burglar that is going into your neighbor's house may very well come back over to rob your home as well. It's time to get up, people. Stand up. Let's speak up for others. Let's help others. Thank you.